What happens when your dream wedding feels completely wrong? You've seen the Pinterest boards, the white dresses everywhere, even the traditions that everybody follows without questioning. But what if you don't want any of it? What if your vision makes everyone else upset, including the person you're marrying? What do you do when being authentic means disappointing everybody you love? Welcome to Wedding Hunter Bridesmaid, a podcast where real-life drama meets unfiltered advice. I'm Jen Glantz, the founder of Bridesmaid for Hire and the author of Finally the Bride. Every episode, a new caller will share their honest and raw dilemma on friendship, love, weddings, and so much more. An expert and I will give advice, and you can chime in too with what you think they should do. Will they listen? Well, we'll soon find out. And P.S., Wedding Hunter Bridesmaid is a Love Stories by David's podcast. This episode is brought to you by Jewelers Mutual, the easiest way to insure your jewelry. Get a quote, apply, and protect your jewelry. It's that simple. Learn more at jewelersmutual.com. Joining me today is Amy Shack-Egan, an entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Cheersy, a digital marketplace to book a day of wedding coordinator, and owner of Modern Rebel, a full-service wedding planning company helping couples rewrite the rules. She's built her career around challenging traditional expectations. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you so much.
I'm so happy to have
I'm
you.
excited to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how did you get into this weird world of weddings? What happened?
It was unexpected because I was a gender studies major in college.
Ooh.
So I always say I was like the last person that you would expect to become a wedding planner.
Yeah.
I was the loudest feminist in my friend group. And I was living in New York. I was working 3 jobs, always super ambitious, and the kind of event organizer of my friends. And I had a friend that was engaged. She was planning her wedding, and she was super stressed out. And she reached out to me, and she said, can we meet up? Can you help me get organized? And I'm still really good friends with her. And we did. We met up. And at the end of it, she looked at me, and she's like, Amy, you could do this. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you could be a wedding planner. And I was like, oh my God, I would never do that. Like, just too fussy, too frilly, so not me. And that really stuck with me. And I was like, why do I have such a reaction to this? And why do a lot of women have such a reaction to the wedding industry?
Yes.
And maybe I could do it differently. And so I really just started with friends of friends, cousins of friends, and brought this approach of what if we helped couples rewrite the rules a little bit, and called the company Modern Rebel. And that made incredible people come my way because they wanted to do things differently. And it really just grew from there.
What do you think that reaction was about, oh, I could never be in the wedding industry? Like, where do you think that comes from? And so many people feel that way when the word weddings comes up.
I think the word bride is such a loaded term.
Yes.
And for so many of us, it feels like we're already falling short before we've even gotten to the starting line.
Why?
Why? I think it's because it's this archetype of this like perfect woman. And there's already so many chips stacked against us as women. And I think it's like, one more thing, one more label, one more thing I have to measure up to. And I just had almost just like a full body reaction to somebody saying you should be a wedding planner. And it really did not leave me alone. Like it sat with me. And I was like, as I talked to my other friends, if, I were to get engaged, I was 23 at the time when I started Modern Rebel. I was not close to getting engaged at that time, but I thought, who would I hire? Yeah. And who would not treat me like a pretty little princess if I hired them? I wanted someone real. I'm a empowered woman. I don't need somebody to sort of like dumb it down for me or make it something bigger than it needs to be. And I think that's really where the impetus of Modern Rebel began for me.
It's so interesting because you get engaged and then you automatically get pushed into this role of bride where, like you said, perfect is the word. You have to look perfect, act perfect, be perfect, have the perfect wedding. And you don't even have the time to question, like, do I want any of this? I mean, do I want any of these traditions? What do they even mean? When you're working with people and they come to you, what is the process of saying, okay, what traditions do you want and what do you want to break?
Yeah, I think that it's really important to interrogate for yourself what traditions we always say you want to keep, you want to toss, or you want to remix or reimagine. Right? It doesn't have to mean that you have to do something or you don't have to do it. You can reimagine it. You can remix it. You can make it work for you. But I think just asking that question is powerful because this ultimately, whether we like it or not, is a day where you're going to remember it for the rest of your life. Yeah. It is a big day in your life.
Yeah.
As much as I always am trying to like depressurize it, it is one of those days. And so if it's going to be that big day in your life, how do you make it feel like you? Make it feel like you and your partner. And I think asking yourself those questions around traditions is a really key way to do that, so that you don't show up to an event about you and your relationship and you go, oh, this doesn't even feel like me.
I want to like dumb it down and say, let's strip down to what marriage actually is and build up from there, because I really do think a lot of people, it's not that they don't know this, they just choose to kind of ignore this because they're put into this world. There's so much pressure. There's so many traditions. Marriage at its core is signing a legal document.
Yeah.
What is a wedding stripped down with absolutely nothing? What is like a core of a wedding?
I mean, I've always called it a love party at the end of the day. And when I first started saying that, I got a lot of eye rolls and people were like, what is that? And I was like, it's a wedding. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a party celebrating your love. That's all we have to do to make it a wedding, right? So that can look so different depending on who you are. That can look like a block party in the middle of Brooklyn. That can look like a space disco cowboy love party in the middle of a ghost town in Austin, Texas. Like that can look like a really traditional ballroom wedding with a 20-person wedding party. I've done all of those things.
Yeah.
And they've all looked different and they've all been the right choice for those particular people.
So then how do you not get trapped into this, well, I have to do what everybody else is doing? Because I'm the same way as you. When I got engaged, I was like, I'm not having a wedding. I'm not having this, and this. And then all of a sudden, somehow, even I got tossed into this world where I was like, I need the white dress, and I need an aisle, and I need to toss the bouquet to all of my single friends, and I need bridesmaids.
Yeah.
How do you go from engaged to I'm going to do what I want without getting trapped into all of these, I have to follow this playbook?
I think it's really hard. I want to be real about that with people because I think it's easier said than done.
Yes.
Before you get engaged or even at the beginning of engagement, it's easier to say, I'm not going to do any of those things.
Yep.
And then you have financial players in the game in your family. You have friends. You see things that you inevitably go to so many different weddings, even the year maybe of your own wedding. And it makes you have opinions that you maybe didn't have when you first got engaged. So I think it's okay, first of all, to change your mind.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should put too much pressure on yourself. But it's also a good reminder of this is something that you and your partner ideally should do together. And I always think it's important to have that perspective, because if you just get way in over your head and start planning and never take a step back, you may end up realizing that you're just saying yes to things that, oh my God, this isn't me at all.
Yeah.
So I always tell couples they should have one night a week where they sit down, work on the plans. Whether you've hired a wedding planner or you're doing it yourself, have one night a week where it's like, we're going to focus on the plans, and then have one night a week where you don't talk about it, because you don't want this to become your whole relationship. And the more you step back, I think the better perspective that you have on what you really want, which can change.
Yeah.
And also give yourself a break. Like, I literally have been called the anti-wedding wedding planner. And when I planned my own wedding in 2018, I did like the traditional dress shopping, and I felt like horrible. I hated it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't me standing on a pedestal and like trying dresses on. I went with my mom and my sister, and I remember I tried on this dress and my mom like loved it. And she just like got like kind of emotional, and I was like, oh, this is it. And I remember like a few weeks before my wedding being like, I don't think I like this dress at all.
Yeah.
Wait, why did I buy this?
Yeah.
I wanted like a flapper dress with like some heeled boots and like call it a day. And if I, of all people, can fall into this trap, you can too. and give yourself a break, because you know what? It meant a lot to my mom. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Not everything has to be perfect. You're not going to make every perfect decision. That's part of that bride, archetype and expectation. And we just need to let that go for ourselves, because it's too much. It's too much to put on ourselves.
No, I love how you said, like, you can also make decisions because you know it will make some other people happy. Not every decision.
Right.
But there are some decisions where you can say, well, I wouldn't really want that, but I know it's going to mean so much to this person. But I have to tell you, all I wanted at my wedding was pizza. It's the only food that I eat. I don't like any other food. Like, everyone who knows me knows I only eat pizza. When I tell you the pushback I got from everybody in my life, from, oh, Jack's parents are not going to come to the wedding because they're not going to want to eat pizza, to, oh my God, you can't just serve pizza and not have the traditional caterer. Like, the amount of pushback I got over pizza was crazy. Like, you would have thought I said, I'm not serving any food.
You would have thought pizza would be also like the thing to bring everyone together.
No, the amount of pushback I got for that. I also wanted to do something where I had no seating arrangements. People can just sit wherever they wanted. Like, I wanted to do all these untraditional things. Luckily, and I say luckily because I really mean it, COVID canceled our whole wedding. So we never got that.
Okay.
Which I was so happy about, because I ended up planning this massive wedding that I didn't even want, but I felt like I had to have, because I got so lost in this world. So my question for you is it healthy when you're planning a wedding and you're making decisions to say, okay, this is the decision we're making, but then to question the why behind it?
Yeah, I think it's healthy to question the why behind anything, but I also don't think that you have to question it so much that it spirals you out of control.
Okay.
Because when you're wedding planning, for some reason, all the people in your life that you love take this weird pill that you don't know about, where they have extra opinions about everything.
They tell you them. Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't normally tell you. It's kind of like, when you have a baby, obviously I know something about that. Like, they also have a lot of opinions.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you never say anything about this other thing that I have going on in my life, but for some reason I'm planning a wedding now, and you want to tell me how you really feel. And I have to hold all that, also while managing this budget, also while booking these vendors, also while holding the fact that most eyes are going to be on me and my partner, Deb, not necessarily you, sister, brother, mother-in-law, whoever it is. But I think in asking the why is important.
Yeah.
But it's also not to hold yourself to some higher standard that you cannot ever get to.
No.
It's to just make sure that you feel like you, ultimately, and to realize that there is going to be compromise. There are going to be times where, like with me in the dress, you go, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I'm not 2 weeks out from my wedding getting rid of this many $1,000 dress and finding something else, and that's going to put me into another spiral.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
No, for sure. Why do people, like you said, they take that opinion pill? Why, or what makes them suddenly say, like, I have a million things I have to tell you? Why does that happen to people?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because weddings are such a big part of culture.
Yeah.
Like, we see them in movies and we go to them, and there's such a, I don't know if I love this idea, but they are a milestone, right, in a lifetime.
Yeah.
They're a moment where they bring people together, and a lot of times there's emotions that these people in your life are holding on to that almost have nothing to do with you. Like, I always say that as a wedding coordinator, like, I hold so many family secrets.
Oh my God,
like,
yes.
I've had parents see each other for the first time at the wedding, parents of the bride, and the dad cheated on the mom with her best friend, and they're married now, and they're going to be at the wedding. And it's been 5 years, and just so you know, Amy, they've not seen each other since this all went down, and they're going to be sitting in the same row.
That's a lot.
Okay,
that's a lot.
So think about that emotion that those people are holding on to, and then we got to get this right.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes how they control things, right?
Yeah.
It's like that makes them feel better. Like, if I can just control this, then this will be easier. whether that's true or not, I don't know.
No, there is so much pressure because I think people come at you with these opinions because they're excited. They're happy for you. Also, like, they have been waiting for this for so long in their lives, whether it's your parents or your friends or whoever. And then there is the family dynamics. Like, the fact that this is one of the only times in your life where everybody you know is in one room, that to me should, like, never happen.
Yeah.
For most people. Like, most people have
really
a little
doesn't.
Dysfunction. It shouldn't happen.
Right.
And then it does, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
And usually people, I find, are on their best behavior day of. Once they get to the day of, they've gotten it all out of the way. They've aired all of their opinions and emotional baggage, and then they get to the day of and they have a great time.
Yeah.
And I always think people are worried. Couples always feel like, oh, is it going to, and they're fine. At least in my experience. But you're right. Sometimes it also comes from like a really good place of they just don't know how to.
They don't know how to channel it.
They don't know how to channel it.
What are the 3 things, if you could pick just 3 things that make a good wedding, what do you think they are?
Ooh.
I know this is tough, but I feel like you've been to a lot. You've seen a lot. What do people need?
One, I think it comes down to the relationship. Yeah. I really do think that people are always like, what's your favorite wedding that you've done? I've done 250 on-site weddings and our company's done 500. And so it's a really hard question. But to me, it always comes down to the people. So like if the relationship is interesting and strong, that's always going to translate. If they're having fun together, that's always going to translate. Like that's a special sauce in your wedding ingredient list that I have nothing to do with. So like to me, that's like number 1. Yeah. Like you guys actually like love each other and are having a kick-ass time and we have something to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think the second piece to that is you need to be present for the day of. So it's really important that you have at least a day of coordinator. If you hired a wedding planner, then they're probably on site, but at least a quality person that you can hand the plans off to about a month out. When I say day of coordinator, I really mean month of. That's just the term that everybody uses. But that's somebody that you trust. That's your advocate that you vibe with too, that you can be like, Amy, like, like here's like what I'm dealing with and I'm nervous about this on the day of. It's like, I got you. And they've got a great timeline and they run a day of and you make sure that the things that you want to happen actually happen and that they can manage a really great timeline. So I think that gift of presence, it cannot be understated.
Yeah.
So the relationship, the gift of presence, and then I think the third thing for me is like, I think probably like music.
I know. Okay, we're on the same page.
I said music, but I was like, music and lighting go really hand in hand for me. So I'm squeezing in a fourth. But I think they really work well. You can have a bright dance floor with great music. Like you need
that vibe. I was going to say so many of the same things as you. Number 1, I think a day of coordinator, and I truly mean that because people don't have that, then they rely on their friends or their family, and those people want to have fun. Those people don't know how to run an event, or then the bride or the groom has to do all of this themselves, and then the day flies by and they're managing logistics, and it gets so frustrating. So I think the day of coordinator, I think the music, I think having like really good music, if you're a music person, matters, and then I think the food, and the food can be anything. People honestly kind of like it when you have untraditional food because it's something new for them, and we all know what wedding food tastes like in our sleep. And like
that's so
I've been to so many weddings, I will never eat wedding food. I'm like the pickiest eater in the world.
Okay.
So having like unique types of food I think is really fun too. But yeah, I agree, like you can tell that a wedding is going to be good because of the couple. If the couple is really in love and they're in a good place, like that magnifies the whole day. So
100%. That energy is undeniable.
And you can't make that up. You totally can't make that up. This episode is brought to you by Jewelers Mutual. You said yes, FaceTimed everyone you know, and have taken all the photos to show off your new bling. But then what? Now is the time to think about jewelry insurance. The easiest way to insure your jewelry is with Jewelers Mutual. Get a quote, apply, and protect your jewelry. It's that simple. Learn more at jewelersmutual.com. I want to get into today's caller question because I know she's struggling with trying to plan an untraditional wedding with everybody barking at her not to. So let's see how we could help her. My family thinks I've lost my mind because I want an emerald green dress and no aisle for my wedding. I'm Callie from Virginia. I'm getting married in 6 months. I want our favorite restaurant cooking on site, no bridal party, no bouquet toss, basically the best party ever with no scripted performance. My mom said that I'm making a mockery of my marriage. My friends ask why I always have to be so different. But here's the kicker. My fiance, who was originally on board, now wants to add normal stuff so people don't think we're weird. My best friend stopped talking to me over this. My future mother-in-law cried and said I'm ruining her son's special day. I'm choosing between being authentic and keeping my relationship intact. Even my own future husband is doubting our vision. Please help. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start with this because there's just so many layers. But do you see things like this often where maybe one person getting married wants something so untraditional and the partner wants traditional?
I've definitely seen it before.
Yeah.
And I just want to like give this person a hug. Like, it's a lot. They're holding a lot. It's not like they're trying to do anything bad or wrong. But they're up against people that maybe haven't seen this before at a wedding. And, you know, sometimes it'll be as simple as we just want to do cocktail style. We don't want to have a sit down dinner and people have, oh my gosh, they're up in arms about it. So if you want to do, you know, a green dress and no aisle, it's like, I've seen so many variations of different takes on things. So I'm like, oh yeah, you can totally do it. And it's going to be amazing. And your family might end up like loving it even more.
Yeah.
But yes, it's, sometimes it happens where you have family or you have a partner and you're not really on the same page.
It's tough because I think if you are in a certain world of your own, you might go to 1,000 weddings a year and they might all look the same. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be the one who's different, that might really just make people raise their eyes at you or judge you. How do you not get rid of that because that's unrealistic, but how do you become okay with that while also making your wedding what you want?
I think that when you're doing things differently, you're a bit of a rebel.
Yep.
You're going to have to accept a level of raised eyebrows if you're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
But you also have to remember that you get to make the guest list. So, like, hopefully most of these people in the room are here not to judge you.
Yeah.
But to celebrate you and your relationship, and that's the last thing on their mind. And actually, them seeing you in an emerald green dress is going to make them go, "This is so her." Like, oh my God, I'm so happy she did that. That makes so much sense. Yeah.
No, it's so tough because obviously this is a person who I don't think her intentions want to let anybody down in her life, but she's letting down everybody in her life because they want such a different version of what she wants. Who makes the call? Is it her? Is it her and her partner? Is it the outside family? Like, who makes these decisions?
So I think there's something important to this puzzle. There's a puzzle piece that's very important to this puzzle that a lot of people will listen to this and say, well, who's paying for it?
Yeah.
That's always the question, right? Ooh, they're paying, they get a say. I encourage every single couple to, at the beginning of this process, figure out who are the financial players, who's contributing, right? And have an honest, probably a little bit tough, but trust me, this conversation gets easier earlier than it would be later.
Yeah.
With these financial players and figure out if what they're providing is a gift or a grant. I find this is a very important discussion because a gift says, here's $50,000 and I don't get to say how you spend it. It's on the wedding, right?
Right.
But other than that, I'm not going to control. I'm going to drop that in your bank account or we're going to write the checks for the vendors, whatever. Or this is a grant and I want to be a part of the catering tasting, making final decisions on menu, being at the floral mock-up meeting, and we're going to be doing this as more of a family. You need to have this conversation early, and trust me, it might be tough, but it's going to be way tougher to not have this conversation and 6 months down the road be backpedaling and being like, who is involved in this decision-making process? So
I think that is genius because a lot of times people say, well, I got money from this person and this person, goodbye, and then they go do their thing, and then those people are like, well, I was going to be involved in the invitation process, or I wanted to be involved in this, and they don't know. If someone gives you a grant and you don't want to listen to them, well, what do you do?
Well, I think any relationship then is about compromise. They are providing some money, and if they've decided that there are stipulations, you either don't take it and have a smaller thing, or you take it and you have to find some middle ground.
Yeah.
That's relationships. That's life. So ultimately, once you've figured out who those players are, what those roles are, I think you can plan stronger, better, make decisions a little bit easier. But I also want to call out the fact that in this caller's note, they're saying that their partner is struggling with their own decisions. And my biggest piece of advice always to everybody, I've been asked that question before when you're wedding planning, is if it's negatively impacting the relationship, it's really not that important. We need something to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly.
So this whole party, I call it a love party, is about your love and relationship. So if the relationship deteriorates over this, what are we celebrating? So I think it's really important to peel back the layers and step a little bit back, have some perspective and go, okay, no one's on board with this. Okay, let's recalibrate. Let me recalibrate a little bit.
Yeah. You're somebody who has 2 companies. What are the parallels between building 2 companies?
The way you said that's it's who would be crazy enough to do that?
Oh my God. I could ask you 1,000 questions about how you have 2 companies, but you have 2 companies. You've raised money. You've done so many incredible things. What are the parallels between building 2 companies, raising money, doing all that, and planning a wedding? Because for a lot of people, this might be the first time that they are CEOs of a project, which is their wedding, and their co-CEO happens to be the person they're marrying.
Oh, man. Oh, and planning my wedding with my own partner, John, was so hard. And I've done so many weddings, so I empathize so much when people are in that, especially with their partner where they're maybe not on the same page, because we went through that too, especially because I was I know I do this every day.
So why was it challenging for you? Did he have different opinions, or was he just what's going on?
Yeah, he had different opinions. And he also didn't know all the logistics. So it's we can just do that. And I'd be like, well, no, we can't.
No, yeah.
That's the way,
that'll take 5 minutes. You're like, no, that takes months.
That takes months. Yeah, exactly. What are the parallels? I mean, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. You have the highest highs and you have the lowest lows. And you have to be willing to ride those. That's obviously similar to, I think, planning a wedding. You have some of these really high moments, and you're also going to be hitting some really low moments, because it's usually the first time that you're managing a budget this big, a project at this scale, with opinions on both sides of your families and with your own partner, and there's pressure. There hasn't probably been a ton of pressure. Now, every relationship's different. Some people experience big loss or change before they get married, but a lot of couples are early on and they really haven't.
Yeah.
And so you're navigating and riding these waves together. And when things are easy, it's always it's easier, right, to be in a relationship and have fun. When things are going well,
it's amazing.
You're not really testing your relationship.
No.
But when things are hard, you're really testing your relationship. How do you communicate? How can you manage, riding this wave together? And I think that's the same is to be said for building businesses, right? You don't learn a lot in the good times. You learn a lot in the tough times.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if you can have that perspective, it will serve you so much better. And I say all the time, wedding planning is a team sport. If you can approach it that way, you will be so much better off in the long run, because you have so many team sports ahead of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. And I think it's a good parlay into what marriage and the next steps in your life will be, because you have to start making tough decisions, whether it's about where you're going to live, or if you want to have kids, or career things together. There's so many hard things that happen, I think, in the first year of marriage. And the wedding is the first big thing that you're going to work on together. My question for you is the wedding for the couple or the guests?
It's so controversial. Whatever I say is
setting you up for failure here, okay? I know.
And I can't just say both. It's when people don't have an opinion on an answer.
I don't even know how I would answer it. I mean, I think that I would say it's so hard, because if you say for the couple, then it's well, who cares about the guests? But if
I think a marriage is for the couple. I think a wedding, it's for the guests, but it needs to reflect the couple.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just have pizza, I guess, if there's some guests who literally don't just eat pizza. I get that now in my older years, but You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like, you know, you take your guests to a water park and you're like, this is our wedding. It's like half your guests like can't swim. Like,
no,
that's not that's not happening.
So there's got to be some boundaries in place between like being so extreme where you're isolating everybody, unless that's what you want. You want to elope on top of Mount Everest, like unless you want to do that.
But to me, that's like not a wedding. Like eloping, so that's great. Do that. That's elopement to me is in a different category. But if we're doing wedding and we're inviting guests, we do have to think about guest experience.
Yeah, that's one thing that when I was planning this wedding we never had. People would be like, it's not just for you, Jen. Like, you have to, like, when the guests arrive, you have to treat them like human beings who deserve to have, like, certain basic needs.
I want them to have pizza.
Just pizza.
What's wrong with
that?
On
paper plates. And I don't want to hear anything about it. And
I don't. That's great.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't drink alcohol, so we'll have soda only. And, like, everyone was like, Jen, you, like, have to give people, like, the basics. So how do you balance, okay, this is also for people, but it's also about us?
I think you balance it like anything else. I mean, you are going to make certain decisions that aren't really negatively impacting your guests that also reflect on you. So if you decide that there's no aisle or you decide to walk in as a couple, that doesn't in any way negatively impact the guest experience. But I think when it comes to the guest experience, things like food, right? The comfort stuff.
Yeah.
Food, lighting, right? Even thinking about strobe lights, right? If you've got folks that are prone to seizures, you have to think about these things. You don't want to be putting strobe lights on your dance floor. Temperature is really important. This is where a lot of people, you know, put the rain plan off to the side and then it rains.
It always
and
rains.
The guests have a terrible experience. And to be honest, the couple can also have a terrible experience. So I think those things are like fundamental. Like you have to think about those things because they're basic to just a baseline good guest experience. But then you get to sprinkle in some really fun stuff that feels like, you know, the special ingredients. What are those special ingredients? Is it the, you know, jumpsuit instead of the dress? Is it, you know, I'm thinking of like, we did like recently a ping pong match instead of a first dance. You know,
I love that.
Like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, like that was very them.
Yeah.
I've done Mario Kart instead of a mother-son dance. You know, you know, it was just dancing was not their thing. And so what are those special ingredients? And sprinkle them in. And yeah, you might ruffle a few feathers with a few choices. But also if it's again, negatively impacting your relationship, take a step back, decide maybe it's not that important, and pick a few.
Yeah.
You don't have to change the world with this wedding.
Totally.
And I think that pressure is almost as challenging as the pressure to be perfect, right? I see that on the other end sometimes where people are like, we have to do everything different. And I'm like, we don't have to do everything different. It's okay.
I know. I was like, I went through every extreme in the book. I wanted everything different, then everything the same, then nothing, then like, you know, I didn't know what I wanted. So I was all over the place. What are some of the coolest things you've seen recently at weddings?
Ooh, I mean, I just spoke to the ping pong match, which was pretty cool. One of the coolest things I saw that I was kind of vehemently against, which is not like me, but from a planner perspective, it was like, I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. I have never seen this work. But this couple had this incredible community. They knew their guests. And I always say, you do know your guests better than I do. I don't know your guests.
Yeah.
And they decided to do sort of an open mic roast toast situation.
Love.
But like that could be...
It could go the wrong way.
It could go the wrong way.
Yeah.
This community was incredible. Their guests were... I mean, it was... That would never work like 99% of the time. But they were so funny. They were so thoughtful with what they said. They just had a really good mix of both. I did a great love party. I call it a love party because it wasn't actually a legal wedding at all, where they had their guests come in. We kind of were like, how do we mix and mingle these groups? Because there was a lot of different people from a lot of different pockets. And so we had a quiz for you come in, you feel like, oh, you get this quiz, you find your name, and you get this quiz. And it's all about the bride and the groom. Well, in this case, they weren't even getting married. So it was just about the couple.
Yeah.
And they had to answer questions about them. Like when they were kids, they're like, what's the name of the person, their first kiss? Like just silly things. And so they had to mix and mingle with other guests to figure out the answers.
That's so fun.
And then they did like a group, they They got gifts, like gag gifts based on who won on the dance floor later on.
So cute. That's really fun because I feel like sometimes like when guests arrive, no one knows who to talk to, and it's like kind of awkward.
Yeah, and this was something where like all of their friends were in very different pockets.
Yeah.
And all over the country and honestly all over the world, so they wanted them to mix. I mean, I've seen so many cool things. It's really hard to pick. I've seen people walk into, the Star Wars theme song, and then I've seen, on a block party in Brooklyn, we did a surprise, Crazy in Love band shows up at the end of the block. So cool. Like it was just, I get chills thinking about that moment. And then I've seen really heartfelt moments where people make choices that old school venue managers don't get, and I've had to push back on. I had a venue manager be like, we cannot have them walk in together with no music, Amy. Like, this will be so awkward for the guests. And the reason that couple decided to do that was because they'd both lost their parents, and they had bonded over really that grief. And so it was a really important decision to them. And we pushed back, and I just had to sort of keep standing up and saying, like, this is how they want to do it. Yeah. And they did it. And there was not a dry eye in the house, and it was beautiful, and it was absolutely the right decision because it was really symbolic for them.
Totally.
So it doesn't have to be this, what's the quirkiest favor that you can think of? Mm-hmm. It can also just be something as simple as that has a deep impact.
Where do people go to find out about cool, unique things to do at their wedding? Like, how do they find inspo?
Well, I can tell you that I haven't actually shared this, but I think I can share it. We can cut it out if I can't share it. I have a book coming out next year.
Congratulations.
That has a lot of inspo.
Yay! Okay, what is it about?
Yeah, so it's going to be, it's HarperCollins is publishing it. It's coming out in February, and it's all about rewriting the rules to weddings. So it's actually like a planning guidebook. Like, it will take you start to finish, but it also has really practical and also really cool ideas for remixing and reimagining traditions.
Oh, this is perfect for you.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So the book is written. We're working on the cover now. So hopefully they can go there.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel like at this point Pinterest can be kind of this rabbit hole and not always helpful because a lot of that stuff is not real weddings, and then you're going, oh, I want to do this, and it takes, I don't know,
a lot of money,
a lot of time, and your entire sanity to pull off. I think a Rock and Roll Bride has always been a platform that I've always looked to. And then I think that, of course, there's just couples telling their own stories on TikTok. And we obviously share stuff on Modern Rebel's Instagram, @ModernRebel, that, gives people some insight into choices they can make. But I'm always hesitant to tell people to go find inspo because the best place to look is at yourselves. What makes you too interesting? What's your story? How do you weave that in?
Yeah.
If you're just copying someone else, it's probably going to feel inauthentic.
No, it's so true. I feel like having that meeting with your partner and saying, okay, what do we like? What's significant in our relationship? What can we pull in? At least having that as a baseline before you start searching for so many things and you get on all these rabbit holes. Okay, if you were this caller, what would you do? If you were her, how would you fix this?
Ooh. Well, I'd probably go and have that tough conversation with the financial players. And just sit down from a place of real empathy and be like, look, I want to get on the same page. And I want to understand, like, where the lines are in terms of who's making decisions and how important this is to you. So, like, coming from a place of empathy and I love you and I'm not trying to, ruffle any feathers here, I think is, like, a great place to start. Of course, there are unreasonable people, and I don't know enough about this person's family to make that call. So I would start there, and I would have a serious conversation with my partner where I might be like, where can I step back? And I would recalibrate from there. And that may mean keeping some of the things. That may mean compromising on some of the other things. I don't think that it means forge ahead like a bulldozer about these things because this is my wedding and I'm the bride.
Yeah.
I think there is compromise there. But I think it starts first with like a really empathetic conversation.
I agree. And I think we've talked about, maybe it is also pulling in what matters to some other people because it really matters to them. And maybe it is about pulling in, okay, I want all of these 10 non-traditional things, but maybe you do 8 of them and you compromise on a couple of them, realizing that you're going to make a couple other people happy. And these other things you're compromising on, you really don't care that much about. You just really want to be different, you know? So I think understanding why you want to make all of these changes, compromising on a couple of them, and in the end, being comfortable with your choices and dealing with the judgment that you might get from people. If your best friend stopped talking to you because you want an untraditional wedding, there's a lot going on there that's not just about this wedding, you know?
Yeah.
So understanding, okay, what backlash am I going to face? What am I okay with? And what might not even be about this whole wedding situation?
Right. 100%.
I could talk to you forever about this, but where can people find out more about you, Cheersy, Modern Rebel, and even get alerts about the book?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram at Modern Rebel and at Cheersy. So cheers with a Y. And Modern Rebel is our full service wedding planning company. I've had that for 10 years. And we help couples from start to finish rewrite the rules. So that's if you're looking for a full service wedding planner. Cheersy is a digital marketplace to book a day of wedding coordinator. And we are constantly adding new cities where we have amazing coordinators. So if you're planning your wedding yourself, please don't run it day of. Hire somebody who can step in a month out. You can find us at cheersy.com or modernrebelco.com. And both of those platforms, you can drop your email right on the homepage and get updates from both companies directly from me.
I can't wait to read your book. It's going to be so important for people, especially as they plan weddings in this modern day world, because things are changing so fast. So I can't wait to read it. And thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Yay.
I'll also say, can I say one more thing?
For sure.
Do you mind?
Oh my God, no, keep going.
I will also say that if you're interested or fascinated by the entrepreneurial journey or just want to hear from me directly, I'm also pretty active on my own Instagram at Amy Shack Egan, which should get even more interesting as I welcome twin girls into my life. So you can follow me there as well.
I feel like you're running 2 businesses and then like 2 sets of kids. Like you have a son and then you're going to have twins. So you're running a lot, and your personal Instagram is so honest and relatable and just fun, because I feel like I'm always along for your adventures, and it's a really good time to follow.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Yay.
I feel the same way about you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by Jewelers Mutual, the easiest way to insure your jewelry. Get a quote, apply, and protect your jewelry. It's that simple. Learn more at jewelersmutual.com. Thank you for listening to 1-800-Bridesmaid, and I hope this caller's story gave you something to think about. Have a wedding dilemma or relationship question? Submit your story on 1-800-Bridesmaid.com. Find more 1-800-Bridesmaid episodes wherever you get your podcasts, and watch the full episodes on YouTube. For behind-the-scenes content and daily advice, follow Bridesmaid for Hire and Love Stories by Davids on Instagram and TikTok. If you enjoyed these stories, check out my book, Finally the Bride by Jen Glantz on Amazon. And remember, sometimes the best advice comes from strangers we meet along the way. Until next time, this is your professional bridesmaid signing off.